scale. Just 1 second, please. Do you know the order of speakers? Did Kobie's team share with you the...
Dennis Pamlin.
So the order is Deputy Director first,
Okay.
Dennis second, you third, Massamba fourth, Marcelo fifth, and Andrea seventh.
But I just give an opening. I don't think I'm moderator. It says...
No, I'm moderator.
Yeah.
But like in terms of the order,
Uh-huh.
I just wanted to know if you've been informed in terms of the order where you are speaking. Which I need to update it
Oh,
too.
like I'm not speaking in the beginning.
That's my point. But if
I
you
thought I
think,
was the beginning.
so
Like before the whole
let's-
thing happened. But I'm like on the panel.
You're on the panel. So Kaohsiung, Deputy Director, Dennis, and then Kobie, which is now
Okay.
you.
Okay.
But I was wondering if there's a problem in terms of time for you.
Kind of.
Do you want me? I can bring you right after Deputy Director.
Yeah.
If that helps.
I think that's good.
Okay.
Yeah, that helps.
Okay.
Yeah.
Just wanted to make
All
sure.
right. Thank you.
Know, so that you know
Okay.
what is the flow.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Wonderful. Of course.
Are we all sitting here, or we come up to the podium?
Sitting.
Sitting.
Yeah. All right. Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us today. And apologies for starting a little bit late, a little bit more than a little. The reason was a couple of our speakers were stuck behind us, entrance, permissions, badges, etc., including myself. But things are resolved gladly. I know we are almost towards the end of this UNFCCC COP, and many of the participants have already left. But this doesn't mean that all the important conversations are done. So this is certainly one of the important conversations that we at ICLEI were looking very forward to that, particularly because we have our innovation partners. First and foremost, I would like to thank the UNFCCC Global Innovation Hub, Massamba, Niti, Sylvia, Alex, and their team providing this space for us. And without any further ado, I would like to delve into the session, knowing that we are running a little bit behind. So I think we all are aware that with the conventional actions and approaches to climate action, we are not on track to reducing the global warming to 1.5 degrees below the baseline pre-industrial area. But also in terms of sustainability, we are facing a multi-crisis situation. It's not only climate, but also biodiversity, and also challenges in other SDGs, including peace, which is a very important matter as we speak because of the ongoing conflicts. So this calls for innovative, novel approaches on many fronts. But today we are focusing on the climate crisis we are facing, as cities around the world are doing really novel work, but probably one of the challenges is identification of these good practices, maybe we can call it best practices for that particular context, and then also working towards next practices. And as part of that, with Mission Innovation and UNFCCC Global Innovation Hub, ICLEI has been working on an expanded climate and innovation agendas towards a type of trajectory in which we are putting human needs at the center stage. So we believe that not only we need to address the climate challenges and deliver to the needs of community, but also we need to ensure we provide a flourishing lives for current and future population. Today we will delve a little bit into some examples, including the city of Kaohsiung, about their journey on net zero, and then about the expanded climate and innovation agenda, which is about the cluster of solutions and the movement of cities globally from the past to the future, under Mission Innovation Net Zero Compatible Initiative by Dennis Pamlin. And of course, we have Marcelo, the former Secretary of Environment and Climate in Brazil, and the founding partner of VY in Brazil, that will look a little bit into the finance aspect of the conversation. and also Andrea, our dear colleague from United Nations University, that will talk about the science and action. And last but not least, we have our Deputy Director of U.S. Office who will talk about ICLEI's position on this front. So without any further ado, I would like to invite all the panelists to join us. Deputy Director Huang, Deputy Director Kale, Andrea, Massamba, and of course, Marcelo, please join us to the panel to start the conversation. Thank you. While our panelists are joining the panel, I just wanted to highlight that we have Dennis Pamlin connecting virtually and connecting online that will speak about the expanded climate and innovation agenda. So without any further ado, please, yes. Lovely. So without any further ado, I would like to first ask the Deputy Director, Huang, Shi-Hong, who's the Deputy Director of Environmental Protection Bureau, one of the 7 departments of the city of Kaohsiung, to a little bit walk us through the journey that Kaohsiung has been taking towards becoming a net zero city and establishing industrial net zero alliance, but also talking about the Net Zero City self-government ordinance of the city of Kaohsiung. And Deputy Huang, we are aware that Kaohsiung is working with ICLEI to establish a community of practice for leading cities in Asia-Pacific region, something that just recently started. So it would be appreciated if you tell us a little bit about this project, but also about the work that Kaohsiung has been doing. The floor is yours.
Thank you.
And thanks for putting the slides up, the background. Thank you.
Greetings to everyone gathered at COP29. My name is Hong, and I am honored to join you as the Deputy Director of the Environmental Protection Bureau of Kaohsiung City, a primarily industrial and coastal city in East Asia. I want to extend my gratitude to our hosts and fellow participants united here by shared vision for a sustainable and climate resilient future and the innovation required to achieve it. Today, I am here to discuss one of the most pressing imperatives of our time, moving from incremental change to transformative action in our response to climate change. Kaohsiung's journey toward climate neutrality has been one of ambition and collaborations. As a city with a high concentration of heavy industries, we have faced unique challenges in reducing emissions. But we have embraced these challenges as an opportunity, determined to lead and create scalable solutions that inspire other cities. By focusing on both immediate actions and long-term sustainability, we are driving change in partnership with our citizens, industries, and the regional and international peers. Our target is to reduce urban carbon emissions by 30% by 2030, which we believe is within reach through integrated approaches and robust partnerships. In recent years, Kaohsiung has launched a series of ambitious projects to guide us toward climate neutrality. Central to this vision is the Kaohsiung Net Zero City Autonomy Ordinance, which serves as a comprehensive and integrated framework for driving climate action in all sectors of this city. This ordinance not only mandates emissions reductions, but set the foundation for sustainable city by emphasizing clean energy adoption, green urban development, and low carbon industries. Therefore, the innovation that the ordinance aims to foster is not only to optimizing existing processes to reduce emissions, but also to encourage innovation that could fundamentally change the key sectors of our city for the better. Supporting this ordinance is the Kaohsiung Net Zero Institute and the Industrial Net Zero Alliance, two cornerstone initiatives. The Net Zero Institute, the first of its kind in the region, serves as a hub for climate neutral innovation and expertise. Through the Institute, we are equipping our city with the technical capacity and the strategy planning skills necessary to meet our ambitious climate goals. We have trained over 3,000 professional and equipped city officials with international certifications. This academy ensures that Kaohsiung has the skilled workforce needed to guide and sustain its transformation, embedding climate neutrality into every aspect of our workforce. The Industrial Net Zero Alliance brings together key industries such as steel and the petrochemical industry, which account for nearly 80% of Kaohsiung's emissions. By collaborating with our Environmental Protection Bureau, these industries have set short, medium, and long-term carbon reduction targets, creating a unified roadmap to be a part of the solution and the goal to reach net zero emissions by 2050. This partnership underscores not only regulatory compliance, but also the voluntary commitment of industry to actively reduce their carbon footprints. The city's Asia New Bay Area project, powered by 5G and AIoT technologies, is transforming Kaohsiung into a greener and a smarter city. The success of the Innovation Park is a testament to strong interministerial communication as a shared project involving multiple ministries from Kaohsiung City Government. By integrating advanced digital technologies with climate action, we are developing a resilient, data-driven urban area that can adapt to changing environmental demands. As of the end of 2022, Asia New Bay Area AIoT Innovation Park has attracted domestic and foreign investments of 15.4 billion NT dollars, creating more than 32.7 billion NT dollars of production value. 3 international accelerators and 95 startups have also joined the Innovation Park to form part of Asia New Bay Area's 5G AIoT entrepreneurial ecosystem. The Industrial Technology Research Institute and the Metal Industrial Research and Development Center collaborated to assist local leading enterprises such as CPC Corporation, China Steel Corporation, Formosa Plastics, Shi-Hong schools to undergo digital transformation using 5G AIoT. This collaboration promotes industrial innovation and attract talents to shape the region as a pioneer in new generation tech applications. Kaohsiung's green transformation also encompasses a shift from traditional heavy industry to a greener industry model that includes the growth of semiconductor clusters. This shift is part of our roadmap to a low carbon future, and it reflects our dedication to economical diversification and sustainable development. Through the Kaohsiung Voluntary Local Review 2023, we track and measure our progress, setting clear benchmarks for emission reduction and sustainability. Our commitment to collaboration extends beyond our city boundaries. I'm thrilled to announce that Kaohsiung is actively engaged with the Kaohsiung ICLEI Climate Neutral and Smart City Community of Practice Project. This regional initiative connects us with cities across East Asia and the Asia Pacific, enabling valuable peer learning and partnerships. By sharing our experience, challenges, and successes, we reinforce not only Kaohsiung's climate goals, but also contribute to a larger movement of city-led climate action. I would like to invite fellow cities represented here today to follow the project and join this communication of practice. By working together, we can amplify our impact, accelerate our progress, and ensure that every city has access to the knowledge, tools, and the networks needed to meet these climate ambitions. As I close, I want to leave you with a message of hope and determination. True innovation means addressing the root causes of climate change holistically. Kaohsiung's journey shows that when we engage in industries, empower citizens, and learn more each other, transformation is not only possible, it is inevitable. As representatives of your cities and organizations, each of you play a crucial role in the global movement. Let us take bold, collaborative action that inspire the world. Together we can reimagine what's possible, leading the way to thriving, climate-resilient future. Thank you.
Please join me with a round of applause to the Deputy Director. Thank you so much. And I appreciate that despite the language challenges, you delivered a very meaningful and inspiring presentation, particularly from the message, as a message from a city in Global South that is thriving, trying to become net zero, but also is helping other cities through establishing this community of practice to become net zero in Asia and Pacific. So thanks so much, Deputy Director Huang. Moving forward, just in the interest of time, to our next speaker, if you had to make a quick tweak in the order of speakers, our Deputy Director, Kale, need to catch a flight. So we are going to ask him to speak a little bit about the role of cities in pioneering transformative agendas, but also their impact on the global framework. Kale, thanks so much for being with us. The floor is yours.
Well, thank you, Pourya, and thank you to the deputy in Kaohsiung. I've been inspired by your city for years and years now, and when I think of a green industrial park in particular, I always think of Kaohsiung. So any panel on city innovation should have you on it. So I'm delighted to be here. I'm actually filling in for ICLEI Africa Secretariat, so my remarks will have a little African flair. I'm from the United States office of ICLEI, but certainly know and enjoy the partnership that we have with Dennis Pamlin and Mission Innovation, and the vital role that this kind of partnership plays in advancing innovation as a concept, as a thing in climate action. So as we're gathered here under the theme of Baku to Belém, I'm reminded of the powerful interconnected leadership emerging from cities worldwide. This session reminds us that cities are not just participants in global climate conversations like this one. We are leading it. And we're defining the roles as engines of systemic change, by addressing not only climate challenges, but also deeper human planetary needs that underpin our collective futures. I want to emphasize the critical role that cities in the Global South are playing in this transformative journey. I will say, coming from the United States, that this leadership from the Global South is more important now than ever. And despite facing unique challenges in these regions, these cities are demonstrating extraordinary resilience and creativity. They're rethinking what it means to be sustainable and equitable as they define an urban future, very different than the historical past. Often working with fewer resources that kind of spurs this greater innovation and ingenuity. It's especially true in regions like Africa, where cities are connecting climate action to human needs, also human rights. I've been inspired by this. Housing, energy access, mobility, and public health in groundbreaking ways. I believe that in the African context, we have significant challenges, but also a unique perspective through our resilience and creativity to look at the demand side and how needs can be met inclusively and in a way that is not so resource intensive. This is one of the many examples of why bilateral flows of information and exchange is essential. So I'll break away from the script for a second to say that this week at COP, our U.S. office at ICLEI and the African Secretariat launched a new city diplomacy pairing program to learn and share about how culture and cultural heritage can inform climate adaptation in both regions. I've already spoken to some of our U.S. cities, and they're going to lean heavily in learning from the African cities that end up joining this program. So just another way that innovation shows up not only in technology, but in our culture and the social aspects of climate change. At ICLEI, our Urban Research, Innovation, and Development team, led by Pourya, is advancing the mission. And by creating frameworks that integrate science-informed strategies, digital innovation, and human-centered approaches, we're helping cities address the root causes of climate change while meeting broader social and economic priorities. I have to come back to the standout example from our colleagues here in Kaohsiung. Kaohsiung is not just a city implementing policies, it's a city rethinking systems. I'm going to mention two programs, initiatives like your Net Zero City Self-Government Ordinance and the Industrial Net Zero Alliance really inspire the entire ICLEI network. I personally like the Eco-Logistics project. If you all don't know about this project, it's using advanced technology to map, I think of in the US, like Amazon trucks that are making deliveries every day through our cities and causing a lot of congestion and pollution and trying to squeeze down really tight alleyways near where I'm at in New York. Kaohsiung has pioneered eco-logistics as a way to efficiently reroute how these trucks can move around our cities to avoid a lot of those problems. So this kind of systemic innovation is what we need more of. Innovation that not only reduces emission, but also uplifts communities and local economies. So this brings me, skipping ahead a little, to an important call to action. We need to ensure a strong representation in a coalition of cities from the Global South, cities that can share their lessons, amplify their successes, and inspire one another to go further. I know our Africa Secretariat who wrote this believes that Africa in particular has immense potential to lead in this effort. Across the continent, cities are tackling issues of rapid urbanization, economic inequality, and climate vulnerability with a level of ingenuity that deserves greater global recognition. So as we look ahead to COP30 next year in Belém, our vision is to see this coalition of innovators in the Global South grow. By next year, I hope we will have a vibrant cohort of cities showcasing their innovations and influencing the global urban agenda. These cities working together with Mission Innovation, with ICLEI, with our other partners can create pathways for others to learn and do the same. So in closing, I want to urge all of us here to join this movement. Partner with cities, invest in their innovations, and help us create the frameworks needed to replicate and scale solutions. In closing, thank you to our hosts and our partners. I look forward to the insights and ideas that emerge out of here, and we will see you from Baku to Belém. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
I'll have to jet out, but it was so nice to be here with you all. Sorry.
No, no worries. I think you're inspiring like always, and thanks so much for taking your time, joining us in a very packed schedule. Wishing you a safe travel back to the U.S. and looking forward to seeing you in Belém. So I think we already had a really good example from the city of Kaohsiung, and Kale also articulated how cities in Global South, particularly from ICLEI network, are becoming transformative cities, and that's exactly why we've been convened here at the UNFCCC Global Innovation Hub, because Massamba and his office are spearheading transformative change on this planet. So Massamba, a 2 minutes reflection in the first place, because I'm going to come back to you multiple times. You're playing a little bit of role of catalyst in this conversation. But based on what you heard from the city of Kaohsiung, what you heard from Kel, but also what UGIH is doing, a 2 minutes reflection of how these things are connected to the work of UGIH. The floor is yours.
Thank you. Thank you for organizing this session, Pourya, and for bringing together all these people that are extremely relevant to this conversation. So first of all, thank you, Deputy Director. I think what you have shared related to the city of Kaohsiung is extremely inspiring. And actually what the Global Innovation Hub is trying to do is to inspire as many cities as possible to follow the paceway in which you are. In my previous life, I have been energy expert, and I was very much interested in what you have shared here, these 14 companies sharing their steam. Actually, when I was energy expert consultant, I did my best to promote this kind of idea I call energy system integration at the level of a city. This is extremely efficient because most of the time, the industry in the cities do not need steam at the same level of, let's say, pressure and temperature. If you integrate them, you can have something that is extremely efficient. But most of the time, this is not done. They produce their steam independently. And here, this was really a very good example of energy system integration that show that the city is thinking system and not isolated things. So this is the right thing to do. And I think this kind of experience, we need to find space for other cities to learn from this and implement that. I will come back to that because this is precisely why we want to launch the City Challenge. And also from what I have heard from the Deputy Director of ICLEI, yes, cities are central to the transition that we would like to see happening. But there are many barriers that prevent currently to fully leverage the potential of cities. First, we do not have an incentive instrument to promote action, climate action by cities. We have the carbon market for industries, but we do not have something equivalent to the carbon market that could incentivize cities to implement climate and sustainability action. Second, we need to enable cities so that they can mobilize the full potential of climate and sustainability action. For that, we need to be able to make accessible to them low-cost finance. This is really important. And as I have mentioned, have a space where the best practice and the next practice of cities can be widely shared. Many cities are willing to be solution provider, but we need to create the space so that they can share their experience for others to replicate. And also the GHG accounting system that we have currently is not conducive to transformative climate action by cities, because we still have this production-based approach for GHG accounting, where you look at the source of emission within the cities and you consider that these are the emission of the city. We need to go beyond that and put put in place a consumption-based approach of GHG accounting that will really leverage the potential of cities, because then by measuring the carbon footprint of cities based on their consumption, you make them be disruptive entities, because they can promote the consumption of products that are aligned with the climate and sustainability goal, not only climate, but also biodiversity and land regeneration. I will stop there for the time being.
Thank you so much, Massamba. I really appreciate it and inspiring. And I really like what you mentioned in terms of the city of Kaohsiung, looking from a systems perspective, but also calling for a system of systems that like we need to establish in the global scale to ensure the solution export to other cities, but also collaboration and co-creation of next practices. Speaking of that, our next speaker, a thought leader, Dennis Pamlin, with whom we have had the pleasure of working now for a few years on the expanded climate and innovation agenda. Dennis's focus is on fostering the ecosystem of innovation that is aligned with global goals, but also a type of agenda serving innovation and innovative transformation that moves beyond incrementalism. Dennis, you delivered really powerful messages and sessions throughout this COP. And I think this is one of the last sessions that we would love to hear from you based on the interactions that you've had with other speakers so far at Baku, but also your vision for establishing a cohort of pioneering cities from that old Baoding that you mentioned to the new ones, emerging ones, moving to the next COP in Belém. So the floor is yours.
Thank you very much, Pourya. It's a great honor to be here, and this theme, I think, is really important. We can say what we want about Baku, but this is not where things really going to happen. We're really hoping for Belém to be the solution COP that the world needs. And that's why I'm extremely pleased to be here also. And I think a little bit in my head, we talk from Baku to Belém in terms of time. I think we can also talk about from Baoding to Kaohsiung as a theme. I worked with Baoding 20 years ago to help Baoding to rethink. Their mayor were very progressive, and he was saying, we need to look what the world needs. We have lots of emissions, but we want to create an economy for tomorrow. We want to invest in solar, wind, LEDs. 20 years ago, the International Energy Agency, European Union, US was not there. They were basically ignoring these technologies. They were talking about cleaner coal, shift from coal to gas. But Baoding took the lead. And today, we reap the benefit of this. Now we see China being a world leader in renewable energy, batteries, etc. I think that was the first stage of the transformation. The much more interesting and relevant, I think we can see already in what Kaohsiung is doing. Kaohsiung is really now looking not just to the industrial base, but as a tourism hub and the culture part. Because this touches people where they live. How do they want to live? And I hope that Kaohsiung could be one of the first cities in the world that integrate an expanded climate innovation agenda in their tourism and culture work. Because this is about how people live and are excited about things they experience. And if we can think about tourism, not from a problem perspective, how people fly into Kaohsiung, etc., but how people, by being in Kaohsiung, experience new sustainable lifestyles. Seeing the ocean, seeing the sea that Kaohsiung is close to, eating fantastic Asian food with tofu and other things that are low carbon, that are beautiful, fantastically fragrant, but also enjoying new cultural ideas that we don't always have in the West. Many of the West ideas that are most interesting, I think, come from Asia, Taiwan, Japan, ideas like wabi-sabi, embracing the not perfect. So there's so many things in this that I think we can rethink and say, Kaohsiung can have an industrial strategy that is sustainability 1.0, reducing emissions from the heavy industries. But for the expanded climate innovation agenda, where we put people at the center, then I think the tourism and the culture sector is where we could see some interesting discussions and say that instead of just looking at tourism being one part of where people are in Kaohsiung, what are the new things that they embrace? What are the things they learn? So imagine Kaohsiung being one of the first cities in the world that start to measure how people are inspired to more sustainable lives after they visit this beautiful city. So these are the kind of things that we've been working with, and putting stakeholders like the outdoor industry, music, that people love to do at the center. So that's a little bit how we've been thinking about how do we do this now, so we don't just think about export of technologies. Those are needed, but we also need those who dare to think about how do we spread ideas of flourishing lives. Lives that are lived without compromise, but that is not just chasing more material consumption, but enjoying nature, enjoying culture, and finding value in those things. So I think if we can bring that kind of framing to Belém and say that, yes, we should have one discussion about how the big polluters reduce their emissions. Then we need another discussion about those who provide fantastic lives that people aspire to and that are globally sustainable. And by that, I want to emphasize, this is not about zero carbon only. This is also about resource efficiency, so we don't undermine biodiversity. But it's also about inclusion. Many of what is called green solution in the global north today cannot be scaled to 8 billion people, let alone 9, 10, or 11 that the population will grow to. So therefore, the culture and tourism sector is even more important, because we need really to ask a deep question. What is a flourishing life? Because today that conversation is dominated by people who want to sell things that are globally unsustainable. So we hope that we can work with Kaohsiung now towards Belém and maybe present how you can be credible on sustainability 1.0, reducing our emissions, but also embracing this expanded climate innovation agenda and look at the new investment in areas such as tourism and the culture sector. Thank you. That's all for me.
Thank you so much, Dennis. Please join me a round of applause for Dennis, who's been really inspiring always. And thanks for picturing a future where cities also from global south, cities like Kaohsiung, could be the leader of expanded climate innovation agenda, but not only through the type of actions that are well recognized, but also through new ways of actions. And I really like how you tied this to tourism in Kaohsiung. And I think these are the angles that we need to look into that more and more when we are talking about a space with flourishing lives. So moving forward, just being mindful of time that we have only 10 minutes to close this session, we would move to Marcelo Donnini Ferreira, the former National Secretary for Climate and International Affairs in Brazilian federal government, but also the founding partner of VY. Thanks so much for joining us, Marcelo. Your work exemplifies how targeted investments can catalyze systemic transformation, blending local priorities with global goals, and that's why you've engaged with this space. So on that note, I would like to ask you basically, especially through the innovation and cross-sectoral collaboration that you have worked in, from your perspective, how can cities in the global south, particularly in the region like Amazon, can leverage avoided emissions framework for innovative financing models to export solutions globally? And what role do you see financiers like your organization playing in connecting urban innovation with broader systemic transformation on the road from Baku to Belém? The floor is yours.
Thank you, Pourya, and everybody. It's a pleasure to be here today with you, all of you. And I want to start my line. I'll change a little bit the sequence. I want to start my line getting the momentum that Dennis brought to us. I think the main action that we all can be part of it and we all can engage is in a mindset and conscious moving forward action, you know, because I really believe in this. It's the base for everything. I was just on a panel earlier today, and I was telling people this is my great hope for Belém. You know, it's my best dream for Belém. Everybody from the world coming to Amazon, and if I would like if I need to choose just one dream to become true in Belém, is that everybody could leave Belém having at least tasted a little bit what is the conscience about the value, the true value of nature, you know, that goes far behind monetary value and everything, you know. So, but okay, we live in a society where everything is ruled by monetary measures, you know, and it's fine. And I work with finance, investment, because as an environmentalist, I understood that this is amazing tool to bring results for the environment in the end of the day. So I'm an environmentalist from graduation, and now I'm working with investments because I really understood that's the way the world plays things, you know, the world do things. But behind that, to have conscience and to have this mindset that can recognize all the amazing environmental services that are delivered. And I'm bringing the conversation, as you asked it, for Amazon region, you know. And I happen to have the opportunity also in the past to be a national secretary for Amazon in Brazil too. So I know pretty well the region, you know. And I think this one main thing, like we need to bring this conscience together. We need to bring culture together. I would love to invite everybody here to try to get a little taste from the conscience from the traditional people living there, you know, how they see nature, what are their relation with nature, because it will help us a lot to develop the other pragmatic issues, let's say. Okay, so this is the first thing. And when it comes to deliver like less emissions from GHG in the Amazon region, we always have to recall that it's a region where all the infrastructure, the low infrastructure that exists there, is an infrastructure pretty much based on river navigation, you know. So the transport is all, it's like majoritarily like the major river navigation transportation, you know. So I think to bring modern infrastructure and to push forward the logistics and the infrastructure for the region, so all other things can become reality, is a major step, you know. In this panel earlier today, I was sharing that we probably are facing a huge opportunity to have, as we have like Silicon Valley, you know, we should have in that region, and we should take this opportunity to wake up to have like a social bioeconomy valley, you know. It's not a valley that is like, it's a delta, you know, but we should have like a bioeconomic delta be born in through COP in Belém, you know, because it's an amazing region, everything to do, like every piece of amazing nature and biodiverse that you think, and genetics coming from biodiverse, and products from several different types, you know. So when you put together a culture and you put together this awareness and this conscience about the true value of nature, you know, and then you bring innovation to the table, we have like all the pieces that it takes to build up a really amazing, transformative, in the ground action, you know. And I really believe in this. We have the potential to become a new world economic focal hotspot, but it's a bioeconomic hotspot. Because if you cannot do this in Amazon, I don't know where else you're gonna be able to do it, you know, because there's everything to do. And also I want to really thank a lot Massamba, because Massamba, Nitin, Sylvia, and all the team, Alex, Paris, and all the team from the Innovation Hub, they really are the how can I say, the enablers for the innovation relating and touching all these issues getting strong in Brazil. We had the opportunity to bring the first systemic innovation workshop to Brazil now in September, this year in September, just some months ago. And it really created a momentum in Brazil that is part of this construction pathway from Baku to Belém, you know. And we are pretty excited because we have this super exciting agenda next year for that. And so I'm really hoping that we can get all the stakeholders together and enjoy this time in Belém next year to create a transformation on the ground. It is what we are always talking about. It's all about real and concrete transformation in the ground. Because otherwise, we just get together and have the conference and do some several things. But I think we always need to look to the transformation in the ground.
Absolutely.
And just one more, just add one more thing. As I think the financial sector has a crucial role on all of this. You know, it's more than enough time that the financial sector understands that the economy is changing, and I think this reality is already coming. You know, that's why I have the company. That's why everybody in the financial sector is here in COP. So the reality is already coming, and once we understand the true value of nature and what are the potentials, and once the financial sector is really on board, then I believe we really start to see the huge transformation on the ground.
Thank you so much, Marcelo. Really appreciate bringing a perspective of someone who's been with government at the very highest level, and then now with the private sector, leading financial institutions. I think you connected that very well. And I really like your comment on not only taking events as events, but rather as milestones, as milestones of a journey that we are taking. So well said. Thanks so much for that. I wanted this conversation to go on and on for hours, but we are very limited in time. So we have to move to our last speakers, our beloved colleague, Andrea Ramirez-Agudelo from United Nations University. Andrea's work is primarily on using scientific data to drive community resilience, urban resilience, transformation, and sustainability at the local level. So, Andrea, I would love to hear from you in 2 to 3 minutes, if possible. How do you think cross-sectoral collaboration and science-informed strategies and also human-centered design can enable cities to drive true transformative change needed on the cities? The floor is yours.
Many thanks, Pourya. I think this conversation represents the challenge of cities. We have 2 minutes to solve very complex questions. It is my pleasure to be here. I'm Andrea. I represent today my institute. We focus on the challenge of environment and human security, and that means bringing not only the climate conversation to the cities, but also the opportunity for transformative change. So when I hear my colleagues at the panel, which I appreciate because the understanding of how to change cities goes into different languages, and this is what we have been representing today. We all bring our conversations, we all bring our mindsets, we all bring our message, but if we don't have reciprocity and if we don't have a dialogue, nothing will happen in cities. So that's why it's so important to have networks of cities as ICLEI, because otherwise we cannot learn from each other to accelerate this change. But also we need directionality, and that's why science is so relevant. Only when we can deliver a message that has evidence and it's backed up on science, and not only about the technological side of it, I'm so sorry, engineers, but we need social science power here. Why? Because in cities we have needs, we have urgencies, we have poverty, and we also need to develop faster. So technology is an amazing ally for this, but we need to translate it into the social needs. When mayors need to take decisions, they have very limited power, very limited budgets to do so. So only when we can convince this will help the people on the ground, on your neighborhood, to move better, to alleviate their health concerns, to solve their most urgent needs, the conversation is ongoing. This is what we have learned from our urban lab concepts. We are translating science into policies, into practice, and we are delivering this message through creativity. Just what you said, Marcelo, we need inspiration, especially if we are aiming to go to Belém with a meaningful message. The conversation will be about the people, will be about the solutions, but the technology is about also stories of cities. And when we think of city change, of city transformations, we also have to think about place-based solutions. And we need to think about how to integrate this process of meaningful outcomes with the local needs on the ground. For me, this conversation has meant also that when we speak about mitigation, when we speak about decarbonization, we have to speak about meaningful ways for the people to feel a primary actor, a protagonist of these stories. Because the science is held at the universities or research institute, the government represents their powers, but also we need the private sector here. Nothing will change if we don't have the funding in place in cities. So at the institute, we try to do this integration, we try to do this translation. We are partners in cities in the means of informing their policy agendas, and it's our mandate to accelerate this transformative agenda. So please welcome all to feel part of this technological conversation. It's not only, I insist on this, it's not only arriving to Belém, but from Baku to Belém, we need to deliver a message that is science-based, but it has also an emotional power, and that's why we need the cities' stories behind this. Many thanks.
Well said. Thank you so much, Andrea. I think what you said, particularly in the light of forthcoming IPCC special report on cities and climate change, makes a perfect sense. So hopefully the discussions in Belém would be even more science-informed on that front. So thanks so much. Deputy Director, maybe you can share your final remarks for 1 minute after hearing the panel before moving to Massamba to close it. The floor is yours.
Thank you for this opportunity to share Kaohsiung's vision. I would like to highlight our interest in becoming one of the pioneer cities in the expanded climate and innovation agenda initiative. Kaohsiung is deeply committed to aligning transformative innovation with the needs of our citizens. Through the Kaohsiung Community of Practice project with ICLEI and the Kaohsiung Capacity Center, we are creating a community of practice for collaborative learning and action. Leveraging workshops and initiatives like the Kaohsiung 2025 Smart City Expo to drive solutions that prioritize inclusivity and sustainability. I would like to encourage all cities within our region that have a similar ambition and are interested to share solutions and innovative approaches to apply to join this community of practice that we are building so that they can benefit from the tailor-made capacity building and peer learning activities. By fostering strong regional and international partnerships and engaging with global networks such as ICLEI, we aim to accelerate our transition to climate neutrality and inspire others to join us in shaping a future that is equitable, resilient, and driven by collective ambition. Let's continue to lead together. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Deputy Director. Really appreciate that. And the last speaker, and while the team is putting that one slide on the screen, we go to Massamba for a 1-minute closing about this sort of whole session and whole conversation, knowing that you've been spearheading the Systemic Innovation Workshop, but also the city challenge that you're trying to bring the finance for the innovation. And please kindly put that one slide while Massamba is delivering the keynote. Thank you.
No, just in 1 minute, because I know that the next session is waiting. All these things that have been said is exactly what we would like to put in place to achieve through organizing this city challenge. We would like cities to be the starting point where we will reinvent our economy, our industry, our society, but also reinvent ourselves. Cities to be places that are productive rather than extractive, places that are regenerative rather than destructive, and places that are empowering rather than alienating. This is exactly the purpose of the City Challenge. And stay tuned, you will hear more about the City Challenge in the coming weeks and the coming months in our way to Belém, where it will be launched.
Lovely. Thank you so much, Massamba. And a thanks to all the panelists. And we look forward to the City Challenge to be launched in Belém. Thanks so much. Stay in your seats. Next session is starting. And thank you.